Hey everyone, thank you for checking out A1 Math. And today we're talking about dilations. We're going to do three things. We're going to find the scale factor, find the coordinates of an image, and graph a dilated figure. Let's get started. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is be able to find the scale factor. Finding the scale factor. Okay. And with that problem, the first thing you want to do is recognize what's the image and what's the pre-image. So on this first one, I went ahead and graphed the points. So the ones without the marking is the pre-image. And the one with the marking is the image. Okay, so what's happened is it's been dilated or changed as far as the size of our shape. So what we want to know is how much it's been dilated, or the scale factor. So in order to find the scale factor, what you want to do is divide the image by the pre-image. Okay? So we're going to do a few of these, and you'll see it starts to come out to be the exact same number. So we're going to start with our V, and the V for our pre-image and the V for our image. And we're going to make sure we put the image on top. So we're going to have -2 divided by -4. And that's going to be 0.5. If we still stay with the V, but look at the Y coordinate, we'll have +2 divided by 4. That's 0.5. Let's look at W here. W, similar. -2 divided by -4. That's 0.5. And one more for good measure. 1.5 divided by 3. And that reduces down to 1/2, which is 0.5. So our pre-image here, our scale factor is going to be 0.5. So what we end up doing is taking our image, which was originally -4, 4, -4, 3, -2, 1, and multiply each one of these numbers by 0.5 to get our image. So we went from our pre-image to our image by multiplying by the scale factor, which is 0.5. Okay, so it doesn't seem too difficult to do. Let's take a look at another example. Okay, now in this one, I'm just going to look at our D and our C here. But the key part, the part that can mess you up, is making sure you get the image and the pre-image together. Okay, so remember the pre-image is the one without the markings. So I'm going to find the coordinates for D, and that's going to be 0, 1. And the coordinates for C here, and that's going to be -2, -1. Okay. Now I'm going to get the coordinates for our image. So we'll take a look here, and we realize the D here is up. The new D is going to be up a couple units. So it's still going to be 0. And that's going to get us 2. All right. Mark the image for my D. Now the image for C here is going to be over 4, -4, and down -2. Okay. And if you want to, you could do E as well, but you'll see it's about to come out the same. So remember, we want to do the image divided by the pre-image. Okay, so our image is going to be marked with the little marks here. Now, this first one is going to get a 0 divided by 0, which is 0. So we're just going to be null and void there. Not even going to worry about that at all. But take a look at the next one here. So if we do 2 divided by 1, That's going to equal 2. Okay. Look at another coordinate here. -4 divided by -2, that equals a +2. Next, we take the -2 divided by -1, and that equals 2. So our scale factor is going to be 2. So that's how you take the coordinates of a shape and find the scale factor. Remember, you want to start with the image and divide it by the pre-image. Okay, now what we're about to do is take a look at finding the coordinates of the image. So basically, we're given the pre-image here, and we want to take the scale factor and find the new image. Find the new image. So in order to do that, all you want to do is take the scale factor and multiply it by each coordinate, each number in the coordinate, the x and the y. And then that's going to get you your new coordinate for your image. So we start by multiplying 0 times 1/2, and that's going to get us 0. Then we're going to multiply -3 times 1/2, and that's going to get us 1.5 or 1.5, negative. Next, we're going to take the d coordinate and multiply the x, 4 times 1/2, which is 2. And the y, -2 by 1/2, and that's going to get us -1. And finally, we'll take the c and put my marks on here for my image. And we're going to multiply the 5 times 1/2, and that's going to get us 2.5. And multiply the -4 times 1/2, and that's going to get us -2. So this will be the coordinates for our new image. Oh, this right there. Okay. So with this being a fraction or less than 1, it's going to cause the original image or the pre-image to reduce or shrink down to the image. So these coordinates will show a figure that's been shrunken. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Okay, now here we have our coordinates, and this is a triangle again, and our scale factor is 1/4, okay, which is the same as 0.25. So we're going to multiply each one of these by that coordinate and get our figure. Okay. All right, so our t for our image is going to be -2 times 1/4, which would be -0.5. -1 times 1/4, which would be -1/4 or -0.25. Now our u, -1 times 1/4, same number again, -0.25. All right, now the y coordinate, 1/4 times 2, it's going to be 1/2, which would be 0.5. Now for the v, we're going to have 2 times 1/4, which is 2, and 1 times 1/4, oh, that's that up. 2 times 1/4, which is 1/2, 0.5. And finally, 1/4 times 1 is going to be 0.25, or 1/4. Okay, so this will be the coordinates of our figure. Now, in our next example, we're going to graph the dilated figure. Well, basically, it starts off just like this. We'll multiply by the scale factor and then graph the new shape. So I'm going to show you some examples of those. Okay, now finally we'll go ahead and graph a dilated figure. But before we graph, we got to take a look at the figure, dilate it, and then graph the new coordinates. So for this first one here, we've got these points J, K, and L, and it's supposed to be dilated by a scale factor of 1/2 or 0.5. Okay, and I've already got them graphed here, the points on the coordinated plane. And what I'm going to do, and these are pre-image here, what I need is the image. So to find those, I'm going to take this scale factor and multiply it times each one of these coordinates to get our new coordinates for our image. Okay, so now we're going to have J, and when we multiply -4 by 0.5, that's going to get us a -2. All right, and when we multiply 3, that's going to get us a 1.5. I'm going to go ahead and put 1.5. Okay, so that's our image for K. I'm sorry, for J. Now we need our image for K. We're going to multiply that by -4 by 0.5. That's going to get us a -2. Here, this 5 is going to be a positive 2.5. And then finally we have L, and the image for it is going to be -1 and a positive 2.5. And the reason I want to use the fractions here is because it makes it easier when I get to counting these blocks. You know, instead of saying 0.5 blocks, you just go up 1/2 a block. So I'm going to go ahead and plot out these coordinates here. So I'm going to go back 2 and up 1.5 block. And that's my image for J. Next, I'm going to go over -2 and up 1/2. Oh, yeah, go over -2 and then go up 2.5. 1, 2.5. And finally, I'm going to go back 1 and go up 2.5. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and label these here, K and L. Okay, and since our scale factor was 0.5 or less than 1, or between 0 and 1, I should say, that's going to make our image reduce and become smaller. Okay, and again, this is graphing a dilated figure. Now, next, let's take a look at another example. And on this example, we're going to enlarge the figure. Okay, so I've already got it graphed at the original shape here. I'm going to write the coordinates for that, which is 2. Or J is going to be 2, -3. K is 3, 0. And L is going to be 3, -3. Okay, and that's our image. Now we need to get the scale factor in order to find the this is our pre-image. We need the scale factor in order to find the image. Okay, so we're going to have our scale factor in this problem is going to be 1.5. And since it's larger than 1, it's going to have the image gets bigger or enlarged, keeping the same shape but changing the size. Okay, so let's start with getting the image for J. Okay, so when we multiply 1.5 times 2, that's going to get us 3. I'm sorry, yes, that's correct, 3. Now 1.5 times -3, it's going to be a -4.5. Okay, and that's our J. Now we'll get the image for our K. Multiply 1.5 times 3 here, and that's going to give us a positive 4.5. Multiply times 0, and it's just 0. Now we have our L. Multiply 1.5 times 3. That's going to get us a positive 4.5 next to a negative 4.5. Okay. And now we have our coordinates. Make this a little bigger here. Now we have our coordinates for our J, K, and L. Okay, now we're going to plot our points here. So we're going to start with J. With J, instead of going over 2 this time, I'm going to go over 3 and down 4.5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4.5. Okay. Then I'm going to go over 4.5. 1, 2, 3, 4.5, and go down 0. And last, I'm going to go over 4.5 and down 4.5. Okay. And that's going to be my enlarged shape. Probably could draw it better. Matter of fact, let me try to draw that again. All right, and that's our new image here, which is called the image. So this is our J, K, and L. And you can see the figure is larger by a scale factor of 1.5. Okay, so again, this is dilation, where we found the scale factor, find the coordinates of an image, and graph the dilated figure. And again, I want to thank you for checking out A1 Math. Have a nice day.